This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the Bladen County Board of Commissioners meeting for May the 5th. Invocation will be led by Associate Pastor Eric Melvin from Dublin First Baptist Church.
So let's pray. Father, we just come to you, Lord, this evening. We're just thanking you for your mercy, your grace, Lord, for this wonderful day that we've had. Father, we pray for wisdom and discernment, Lord, as these men and these ladies go about your business here, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you would just have your hand upon these proceedings, Lord, and that Bladen County, Lord, it may prosper under your hand and your guidance, Lord, and that all those that may see that prosperity, Lord, in the business that is done here, Lord, would always point to you, Lord, and your influence. And we ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Eric, will you come forward and let me give you this little tough and appreciation from the commissioner? Just a little Bladen County seal that says we got it.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
So at this time, Paul R. Brown Leadership Academy Color Guard will present the flags and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Forward, march. Out. Others, out. Present arms. Sir, permission to present the colors.
Present the colors.
Aye, sir. Carry others. Others reverse. Arch. Others out. Present arms.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry others. Others reverse. Arch. Others out. Present arms. Sir, permission to retire the colors.
Permission granted.
Aye, sir. Carry others. Right, X. Oh, heard, arch.
We have the Bladen County Board of Commissioners on thing. Hey, entertain a motion for approval of the consent items. Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item 3 is, I declare the public hearing open to receive comments regarding proposed text amendment of the Bladen County E-911 addressing order. Anyone here to speak at the public hearing? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. And B is ask the Board of Commissioners to consider adopting as amended. Motion by Mr. Gillespie, second by Mr. Britt. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? So we got some special recognition of employees. Please come forward, Commissioner. David? got it. Furman Cable. Otherwise known as Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne. Well, this is Wayne. He's been with us 5 years. He is our go-to guy as far as running the non-emergency transport side. We couldn't do it without him, honestly. He is always there. I don't know when he ever takes a day off, other than we make him. So, I appreciate everything you do for us, Wayne, and I've served with this guy, Bladen EMS, for a long time. He is dedicated to the career itself. He's done a lot for the community and the county. Thank you for everything you do for us.
And Wayne, on behalf of the Bladen County Commissioners, we want to thank you for your 5 years of dedicated service to the Bladen County citizens. Thank you, Wayne. Heather Blackman.
This is Heather. I hired Heather 5 years ago. She showed up in my office looking for a job, and I was like, I've watched her just blossom. Started out as basic. I taught her into becoming an advanced EMT. And then I didn't force her. I strongly encouraged her. She doubted herself a little bit, but she has turned out to be a fine paramedic, does an excellent job. She's finished BCC's program this past fall, tested, first time pass. So, thank you much for everything you do.
Thank you.
And Heather, on behalf of the Bladen County Board of Commissioners, we want to thank you for your 5 years of dedicated service
Thanks.
to the Bladen County. Thank you so much. Yeah, and Heather Ellis couldn't be here tonight, but she had 15 years of service.
Yeah, unfortunately, Heather couldn't be here. She's got to have oral surgery in the morning. It was just kind of an emergency thing that come up. So she's been in the EMS field for 27 and a half years. Actually, she's been back with Bladen for 15 years. She's a big asset to us. She does all the training stuff and coordinates the medical protocols and the liaison with the medical director. So she has her plate full, but she does do a good job for citizens.
Okay. Individuals, delegates who wish to address the commission? Matters of interest to commissioners, consider approving the additional funding to Bladen Community College in the amount of $14,365.87 for textbooks for the college. Motion be approved. Second. Motion by Mr. Cameron, second by Mr. Ellis, any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, I want to find out, these are high school students, and there's no other funds out there for them? No, none? And schools and money? Right from the school system?
I'm happy to answer the question if Lisa.
That'd be fine.
The students would have to pay. So if you do not pay, then the students would have.
I guess we've asked about scholarship money and stuff like that. None? None for them.
Okay.
Dr. Lee, what happens to these textbooks at the end of the semester?
So we have an agreement with Barnes and Noble, and they run our bookstore, and they're actually being rented. And so they come back, and then they're reissued the next time. It allows us to use up-to-date textbooks for all of our students, and we charge per credit hour, which actually saves the students a considerable amount of money.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Information regarding nonprofit grant applications received. So we received $8,6,424.96. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll ask for more information.
Table? Motion table, Mr. Gillespie, second by.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any commissioners got anything?
Thinking on, Lions, if they send another, message, I'll just have it redeemed tomorrow, the same thing, and I'll send it, get that same information. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? So the planning board, planning department, consider naming a private road naming petition. The petition is, Butler Farm Road, Lane to Hilton Farm Road.
Yes, this is the property up, Highway 53 towards White Oak, which was Butler Farms, if y'all are familiar with the property. Dean Hilton's purchased that, was Butler Farms Road. He wants to change it to Hilton Farms Road, and the road directly across the street from him was Devon Drive, and he wants to name it to MBJ Drive. Both of these names are, an allowable name per our addressing ordinance.
Well, your own said they want us to use name. That's also, now, why is it changed? Why is it different?
Well, and Sally and I have talked about this, and of course Maria's raised a question. Like, Hilton Farms, that is a name, but it's a farm. It's Hilton Farms. I mean, you have Clyde Hatcher Road, and you have, Dennis Harrelson Road, and you've got George Long Road.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
But I'm told in the last 5 years that they asked them not to do it. I mean, that's what I was told.
The ordinance does say that, you know, it can't be named after people or names, but this Hilton Farms, well, and they are the only ones on the road. So it's like a long private driveway. So, but, yeah, we talked about that in the office, and, you know, I don't know if it's a,
If we vote it down, it's still gonna be named after a name.
I mean, it's okay. I'm just saying, I mean.
yeah, what would you name it? I mean, it's kind
That's
of,
what you can do with it. I mean,
Maria, second by,
a second.
Dr. Field, going to the rest of it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure though, we
Yeah.
give the same information to everyone.
yeah. And at the end of the day, it's, you know, certainly, you know, up to the commissioners if they want to, you know, approve it or not approve it, so.
All right, next to it's Pearl Lloyd Road, so.
Pearl Lloyd Road,
Well,
so.
I mean,
I just,
Order, please. Dr. Field, and
I was only talking about, they just gave, when I just did my property, and
Yes.
that's what they asked us not to do that. That's what you guys told me. Okay, not to use names. I wasn't using my name, but I was using somebody in Starkadia's name. And so it was just saying it's okay. So I'm gonna go back and change my road name. If that's the case.
Oh, what's that, MBJ?
that's, he's got, I guess, his 3 children's names, first letter of their name,
Okay.
my understanding. Yeah.
No, I was just making light of that I didn't mean that ugly.
No, it's okay.
You know what I mean, Doc?
Got it.
So, Mr. Evans, whatever our policy says is what we need to be bringing to the board.
That's right.
Oh, you need to change the policy, change the policy.
Right.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Board of Election, Ms. Wanda.
Let me start by saying good evening to everyone. Give you a brief explanation of why we are here tonight. Of course, most of you have heard about many of the issues that occurred during the last election cycle with the voting machines and the tabulators. There were numerous incident reports. I counted 51 incident reports involving the voting equipment that we are currently using, and that is why we're here. there is a request for replacement of the county voting system that I am attempting to put in place. I'm gonna get these passed out to you so that you can have a look at them. There is a procedure that we must follow according to the state in order to replace our equipment. If you look on the first page, the first step is the demonstration. The next step, step 2, is the preliminary recommendation. Step 3 is the test, the proposed voting system. And of course, it has to be approved by the state board. Our own board has already voted to replace the equipment because our equipment is currently 10 years old, and as you know, at 10 years, it has received several, tests every year, but the wear and tear has deteriorated its ability to perform adequately. So that's why we're here. I am going to introduce the company that our board has elected to go with, because our current company, ES&S, Printelect, we're paying them a lot of money, and the equipment is not getting better, it's getting older, and it has to be replaced. We currently are under direction of the state board to replace our software because it's outdated as well. Please pass that for me. I have 2 representatives here from Hart Intercivic, Ms. Kelly Hood and Mr. Sean Phillips. They are going to do a presentation of the new equipment that we are asking to be purchased, and that is a copy of the proposal. And now I'm going to yield the floor to Ms. Kelly and Sean.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We thought this is such a big purchase that we should come and introduce ourselves, our company, and propose, we are proposing better service. We can guarantee that, a better product, and I'm sure a significant savings for the county. So I'm Kelly, this is Sean. We work for Hart Intercivic. Hart Intercivic, who are we? We are actually located in Austin, Texas. Our manufacturing is a couple miles down the road. So we're made in the USA, our product. We have a 99% customer retention. One of the reasons I work for the company, we're one of the top voting vendors in the United States. Our customers. So we are in over 20 states. We're really flexible. We have state contracts. We have the state of Oklahoma, where they purchase our machines. They take care of everything. We have the state of Hawaii, who actually hires us to go there, live, and run their elections. I haven't been able to do that yet, but I'm hearing people don't really want, it's a lot of work. So we have that, and then we have 2 of the largest counties out of the top 5, right? In the United States, Harris County, Texas, which is Houston, and Orange County with millions of voters. And then we go as small as, Texas has 254 counties, and they're as small as like 700 in a county. So we are in North Carolina, as you can see. If you know anybody in these counties, I think if you have any question about us, who to speak to is them. It would be their counties. They are our biggest advocate. If you can see, we have, Chowan, which is 11,000, to Union, which is 176,000, and not too far from you, Brunswick. So we are definitely growing in North Carolina, and we love that because I love this state. So it's great. Our customer service is top-notch. We are not going to come see you during your maintenance calls. We are going to be in contact with Bladen County nonstop. Wanda's probably going to get a little sick of us, but we had an outside company do a survey, and our competition, as you can see, doesn't really rate in the highest customer satisfaction as Hart does. As far as the customer service, just so you know, we do annual customer checkups every year. We have monthly webinars we give to our counties. I just listened to one recently, which was how to deal with the media. I mean, the last thing you want to do in an election, your goal is to not make the paper, period. But if you do, we will help you in how to deal with it. We are very involved with the federal and state election technology. We serve on boards. We have, if you buy us, it's a seamless transition. We will have project managers. We get very involved in get to know your county, everything about it. These
Can I
are
say
the,
something to
yeah, go ahead.
We have a member at the executive level. He's our VP of Customer Success. His job and his entire team is to make sure that all of our customers have what they need to be ready for elections. And we understand elections in the state and across the country. So all of those materials, making sure, you know, are you budgeted up for the consumables that you need to run an election? Are you up to the latest, you know, federal standards as far as elections go? And just, are we going to pick up the phone when you call? That's his entire job and the entire department under there. So that's our commitment to you.
And we have, these are the three major products, the Verity Print, the Touch Writer, and the Scan, which when I go over the proposal, I can go line by line if you want. I know you have it in front of you, and I'm sorry, it's very hard to read for everybody else, but if you would like me, okay, if you would like me to go line by line, I can do that. It's up to you. Okay. But that's the proposed amount. We are giving a good discount to every North Carolina county that comes on with us. And we also know that that is a big amount to come up with all at once. So we are offering 3 payments, if that's an option.
And at a very high level, I would say this is just so you know,
Yeah.
for the voters, this is a hand-marked paper-based solution that's not going to be, even though it's new equipment, better software, the latest technology, it's not going to be a sea change for your voters. It'll be a very similar experience in that regard.
And on top of the savings for probably just the yearly cost as well, we have the print, which is a ballot on demand for the early voting sites, which, you know, as a former, I did what Wanda did, you have to guess on how many ballots you might need for an election. So you always want to over budget there, and then you have to retain them. So you're printing and you're keeping them, you're retaining the used and unused. So that's quite a savings and ease of use and less mistakes. So I really made this really fast, and that was hard.
One of the things that I have concerns
Sure.
for from Ms. Wanda and her staff, the board member, I served on the board for about 15 years prior to becoming commissioner. And it's so important for them, and I speak for them through concern of experience, boots on the ground the first election.
Yeah.
That you being here, nothing more embarrassing than the night of the election, having problems trying to get things come off the tabulator to get to the states and vice versa. Y'all know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That would be a concern that I have for them, save that embarrassment and to assist them, because what sometimes seems simple becomes real difficult
Yeah.
when you get in a panicky type situation. Not that they can't handle it, I'm sure, but, I've witnessed it and seen it and been part of it. It is embarrassing. But, and service is very important.
Mhm.
The only thing I wouldn't like to see, and I guess nobody would probably know, is the state was gonna offer something in 6 months and get everybody to change, and then all of a sudden, you got this money coming your way, and then we wouldn't have to spend it. But, normally, we get grants and we get money to handle this type thing.
Right.
Especially this side of the person. But I know it's necessary, and I know we need it, because I'm aware of the problems that they have to face.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing is to wear it. You
Yeah.
can't eliminate wear.
And just so you know, to make you feel better, for every implementation, we are there. Every county, the first election, we actually do the first day of early voting as well, but I don't think you guys have early voting. Oh, you do? We're here the first day of early voting. First day of first election, we walk in the door, and these guys walk in the door, and we're not allowed to leave until they leave. And one thing our company does, everybody works on election day. Everybody. So we will be here. We will help train the poll workers when we train the staff as well. Absolutely, yeah.
And I would add just one thing, we do have a full-time employee here in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Elkin.
Mr. Cameron?
Just, and I may be the only one here that doesn't understand. So I was thinking when we first saw the first page, we were purchasing, but obviously it's a 3-year lease, so at the end.
No. That's if you choose to not do that's another option rather than come up with the money up front and pay it all at once.
Or would you lease it, because at 3 years.
Yeah.
You can back in.
Yeah. But counties want that option. So we do offer that option.
I had 2 questions.
Sure.
I was gonna ask about the support for precincts, like early voting, because we're spread, right?
Mhm.
So will they have support there, or you just be here at Elizabeth?
So, yeah, go ahead.
I've done that a lot. So, yeah, we would be stationed here in Elizabethtown at the main office to deploy where needed. But a lot of times we will come in a day early and make sure that, everything is being delivered properly, it's been tested, election's been loaded, and, everything's good to go, that day ahead, and then be here on site to go out where needed.
Okay, so precincts is be out there set up and all of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
We do whatever's needed, to make sure you're successful.
And you said students.
Yeah.
So how is that data from our system we have now to yours? What information is being transferred out to counties? How is that done, and when?
They're doing ballot production services, correct?
Yeah.
So we have a full team at our corporate headquarters, the ballot production services team. They are very familiar with North Carolina elections and your data sets. We're building the elections for the other counties within the state. So they will take that data, whether it's exported out of a statewide system, or even if it's just, hand delivered from here at the county, we put that into our software to build that ballot for you, send you those proofs. When you give it the check mark, then we deploy all the media that you need to load into the machines.
In the past, from the other locations, you didn't use a dual system. You just started one day and had everything, and assumed everything was good. Am I correct? Any system, hospitals and places else, we always.
Oh, yeah.
You don't.
Using them at the same time and transitioning over to the new, they're just starting.
We're gonna come in, yes.
Yeah.
And we've done that all across the country, as we transition. So, Hart InterCivic has been in business for over 110 years. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is our growth has been organic growth. We've never, acquired another company, purchased, buying those territories or buying those contracts. So, it's all been organic growth as we've grown over the last 25 years, being, specifically in the election system business.
Any other questions? Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait,
We're gonna do B. Excuse me? Information regarding grant opportunities, who's gonna do that?
The only grant that the state is offering is just like to make a comment in reference to our current company that we are using for our, elections. We are paying $30,000 plus a year for a service contract. We called them in October when we started having problems with our machines, and they didn't call us back until April. Pass these out. We're gonna get $3,007 for a safe Homeland Security grant. Is all that they're offering to upgrade our software, and that is just an upgrade for the software only. It is, a grant that has been awarded. It's $42,100 that is going to be split equally between 14 counties. Bladen County happens to be one of them.
So are you telling me that there's only a $3,000 grant?
That's it. That's all they're offering.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good evening.
One question. What other stuff, it says here, additional service is required, must be purchased separately. We need everything in this one person.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's, they have a statement saying here, that anything.
Which one are you looking at?
Um,
Okay, Hart.
So we get everything that's necessary on this one purchase for you.
Pretty much, I think that their supplies. Sean?
Yeah, so everything in the quote is everything that you will need. There's no hidden, additional equipment. Now, I will say there are consumable items that you need to buy year over year, paper rolls, batteries, things of that nature that we, try to consult with you on. And then one other clarification I wanted to make is the lease option is you do own the equipment after the end of that lease period. So it's just a way to help you alleviate the burden of the upfront cost.
Leased on, in other words.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
There's some additional, I believe it's through outside financing, so there is an interest charge on there, but, it does alleviate some of that upfront capital cost.
Is there anything of like a lifetime warranty or anything we can purchase on this?
The equipment does come with a 1-year warranty with the option to purchase an extended hardware warranty.
And your interest rate is 5.29.
I believe that, yeah, what's written on it, yeah.
Oh,
Again, and that's, I believe,
that's only if they do the,
with the lease, so the lease option.
if you do the lease option, not in the total price, purchase price.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms. Wong.
Thank you.
Bladen County Schools start addressing that.
Thank you, Chairman Peterson, board members. Thank you all for having us here this evening. All right. I know that we had submitted our the budget message and a budget proposal to you all, I think last month through Ms. Coleman, but we kind of wanted to take an opportunity to talk through it briefly. I know your time is valuable, and we do appreciate your support. As we begin, we are very appreciative of the hard work that's taking place in our buildings. Each and every day, 10 out of 12 schools in our last accountability year met or exceeded growth. That's the highest it's ever been. So we're definitely thankful for that, and we're seeing positive gains that are taking place in our system. Over 90% of the students attending our schools reside in our county. So their parents, grandparents, families, they're tax-paying citizens of our county, and we take good pride in that. I will say that I think great things are happening when we have students from out of the county wanting to come to Bladen County, and I think that speaks volumes as well. We are, on the last data report that was released, we are the third largest employer for the county, the school system is. Our students, I know we've seen great things. We're getting kids recognized at the local level, state level, national level. We've got a group of students that'll be going to the National Beta Club here shortly, and we're definitely excited for that for them as well. We have a very strong partnership with Bladen Community College, which we're very proud of, Dr. Lee and her team. And we have some other things that are in the works that we're looking forward to expand opportunities for our students.
And we're just so thankful for that and our continued partnership with them. And we believe and know that we are the best choice for educating students in Bladen County. We believe in our public school system, and we know that you all believe in it as well because you support us each year. Some things we know going into this new budget year, and we know that things are still being hashed out in Raleigh. The information that was given to us, they had us to plan for about a 4% minimum salary increase. I know that the Senate is much less than that at this point. The teacher's salary scale is on a sliding scale, so we obviously, that percentage doesn't apply to every level. They're working toward trying to increase base teacher pay, and then, of course, it levels off. When you get to about middle of that pay scale, you kind of level off for a while. And then in your last few years, you pretty much stay the same. But there's some work to be done there at state level on that. As you all know, I'm sure you all experienced in the county and will, increasing costs for hospitalization and retirement costs. They've had us plan for about 5%. We know there's increased employment costs, things such as workers' compensation, other insurance, property insurance, legal services, fuel, utilities, things like that. In the past, here until about the last couple of years, we were able to draw indirect costs from the child nutrition program. But there's been new legislation that's been passed that they do not have a minimum of 3 months of operating cost in their budget at the end of the year. The school district cannot draw indirect costs. And what that usually would cover is the school system. As you know, the child nutrition program is actually thrives off its profits and reimbursements that it gets. And so at that time, when we were able to do so, we were able to get back a portion of utilities and things that might have been used, but we're not able to do that right now. And I think we were 1/10 of a month off to draw it for this coming year. So it was very close. And we do know that there are some things taking place now that we're not quite sure. All students in Bladen County at this year and going into next year, as far as we know, will have no cost breakfast and lunch as a Tier 1 county. But we know there's been some changes and things coming out. We're not quite sure what that's going to look like moving forward. We do know that some things that are coming against the school systems across the state is there's a continued push to privatize education for K-12 students through vouchers, and that's continuing. There was a lot of money was set aside for that in the year and more planned potentially. We do know that in our work that we have some challenges in terms of accountability and financial standards that are not held to the same as public charters, where more hoops we have to jump through. They're required to jump through. They have some flexibilities as it relates to being able to recruit staff with licensure. There is a bill being proposed to allow school districts to have that same flexibility, but of course that's still in committee now, and we're not quite sure how that's going to look. But we do the best with what we have, and we don't want to complain. We want to remember that our focus here is to grow our children in the county. So targeted areas of need. We know that recruitment retention has definitely been a challenge and continues to be a challenge for every system in the state. And we know that demand for teachers far outweighs the supply. I serve on UNCP's advisory board for the education department, and the number of graduates going the number of graduates that are going through education programs has dropped tremendously. And that's in a way that's kind of sad to think, because years ago, they had several folks that were graduating, and folks were very competitive for jobs, and now we're doing everything we can to get someone licensed to take a teaching job. And so, a lot of folks are in their final 8 to 10 years. Ms. Harrison, Ms. Brown, our deputy superintendent with me, and myself, we're in that same category. We're in our final part of our careers. And so, a lot of folks are in that boat. And we experienced that around the time the pandemic began. We had a lot of folks that retired at that point, obviously with a lot of unknowns. And so that's taken quite a bit of toll on districts. Support to maintain assistant principal positions. It's very alarming what the state allots for assistant principals. They're very valuable, especially in helping with safety and maintaining order in the school. I think we end up generating about 4 based on the formula they use. And they did it off of months. And I think it's 1 month for every 400 students, 450 students, or some of that formula. But it's a formula that doesn't make any sense, because we have 2 assistant principals at both high schools now. That takes 4 is allotted by the state, at least K-8 schools with nobody. We've tried to make it work now, but we've been made aware of some more cuts in state funding that are going to be difficult for us to do. Obviously, continued support to maintain SROs. We definitely appreciate the support of commissioners in that. I know that Sheriff McVicker's also having challenges with staffing. That's always a difficult thing. And, you know, we're trying to work through that as best as possible with them and trying to make sure our schools are covered. But it has been a difficult task. And that's, again, another thing same thing with teachers, same kind of issue across the state and across the nation. Facility needs, we know we have some overcrowding in some places. You all were very gracious to agree to support us with the additions at Bladenboro and Elizabethtown. The application did not get approved, unfortunately, but we are going to reapply again. We think probably most likely because they funded Tar Heel in that previous year. That's probably why they did not come back to us again. And we kind of maybe thought that might be the case. But we're planning to, once that window comes back, to reapply again. We do have other upgrades and things. You all did help us some last year, and we're getting some things done in some of those outdoor middle school and high school facilities in our athletic areas and all that have been quite a bit of challenge for us. Activity buses, we know that the yellow buses are provided by the state. Activity buses are not. Sometimes we're able to pull some of those offline, convert them to activity buses, but typically that's very high mileage. We have not had activity buses purchased since 2006. And we believe, and I think we can all think back to our time in education, especially in K-3, we all had teacher assistants in our classes. Now, basically every kindergarten class has one, pre-K does, and we're allotted one per first grade team, and that's it. And so, you know, those tender years of early literacy and learning are very important for a child pre-K to third grade. A lot of essential skills are learned. And, you know, that's something we've all continually advocated for, but we know that's an area that we need to look at. We see the total budget summary request on the top there, $9,197,343.58. And the net increase is listed there, very similar to what it was last year, $1.1 million, $664,724.58 on that. And so, kind of a chart that kind of shows some things that we're at that breakdown of what that would be. We are looking at a recruitment bonus match, and what we're trying to do is we want to implement a Grow Your Own program, so targeting our teacher assistants and other classified staff that may have an interest in going back to school and supporting them. We've identified about 30,000, if it doesn't get taken away, about 30,000 in a federal line that we could utilize. And we do know there, you know, there's some federal funds that are still in place and some that may be, you know, shifting focus. But our goal would be to, part of that, to match that with some local dollars. That would sponsor up to 10 non-certified staff who may already have their, you know, have an associate's degree. You know, we've at a couple of our university partners, Fayetteville State and UNCP, have the $500 tuition. We already have a tuition reimbursement in place that would do up to $850 for the year. This would help, and what we would do is basically have them sign an agreement. They would come back to teach for us for 3 years, and we would fund the remaining cost of tuition and provide a stipend for travel and to pay for books in that. So that goal would be to really grow on. We've got some excellent classified staff, and honestly, sometimes some of our teacher assistants, when teachers missing, they can pick it and just take off and run, and sometimes the kids don't even notice the difference except that the person's not there. So we have some great folks, and I think it would be a great way to help support our recruitment efforts. I also see assistant principals trying to work to do a match where we can marry some local funds with state funds to try to keep all those positions in place, because we do know we need those positions. One thing that we had also mentioned in the previous year, and we know, again, we have been coined as having some of the lower coaching supplements for folks who are supporting our athletic programs. And we know that we've looked around a couple of places nearby us, and that is a challenge for us. Our folks that do that work, they do not do it for the supplement, because honestly, it's not, when you think about the time and effort they put in, they're not making any money. But you know, that's something we want to kind of try to see what we could do to maybe help support that as well. The teacher assistant expansion, that would be us looking to add a teacher assistant each second grade team for each school. That total is there. I've already alluded to the specific TA to teacher program that's listed there. Part of that recruitment as well is to try to attract folks in any high needs schools. And we know that salary increases for local employees, we have some that are paid local. Anytime we have a percentage that comes out for the state, we don't treat any employees any differently. We treat them all the same, so everyone gets that same percentage. And then obviously operational costs, which you know you guys are experiencing as well. And that's just a moving target for everyone. Some specific things on the capital outlay side, that we listed in. Obviously, we've got the multi-purpose buildings and classroom wings that's listed there. We've put down for the activity budgets, if we could look at potentially doing 2 of those per year for the next 3 years, that would get us up to 6 at about $325,000. Obviously, on our 5-year plan, the field house, the east and west, that were originally part of the original construction years ago, that had to be cut. And those have stayed on that list there. That's about $1.5 million for each building. Last year we talked about the tracks at the high school. Neither of them, neither east or west, are where we can host any kind of competition, and our students do have to basically work on a modified track. One of the options that we had kind of talked about potentially, and they're not cheap, and the difficult thing is at East Bladen, particularly the football field and gate would have to be moved and be an increased cost, just because of how the track and those turns have to be. One option we looked at, and the community also, several people use Elizabethtown Middle's track now for walking, potentially, as if we could look at maybe and doing even as some kind of partnership as a Parks and Rec / school system, potentially, and a nice walking track, and do a single site, maybe upgrade Elizabethtown Middle's track to a nice quality competition-ready track. And it could also be used as a walking track with lights and things, maybe doing a partnership between the school system, county, and Parks and Rec, potentially, and maybe do one track, and then both schools could be bused there to practice and then be able to host things. And obviously, when folks are here for track meets and things, they're going to buy food here, they're going to buy gas and that kind of thing too, so definitely supporting that. Obviously, we know, and the sad thing is that every day we're hearing about challenges with it relates to school safety, and we're so thankful, obviously, in our new construction, Tar Heel has a great vestibule entrance where it takes a lot to get into that building. You buzz in at the front door, we'll go into a holding area, you buzz into the office, then you can't leave the office to go to the school building until you get buzzed again. We do know that we need to look at some things in terms of our other schools. We were hopeful safety grant funds that we did receive. They were allocated by legislation. They were not divvied out to districts until here lately. In the last month and a half, obviously, the turnaround time to get that stuff done. And a lot of that's been directed toward training, which it cannot be used for things like this. So we're hoping to marry some of those funds with some local dollars. But we do know east and west, high schools, be pretty easy. Put up a wall on the athletic hallway that creates that vestibule there automatically. But we have other schools that are challenging. You have East Arcadia. When you walk in, the office is right to the left. Clarkton, you walk in, you got open access to the school building. Elizabethtown Middle, another example, you walk in, office is right there. You got a stairwell. Somebody could take off and go up the stairwell. So we have some challenging places in our buildings that we really need to reconstruct or kind of change around that entrance, so that when a visitor comes, they're in a holding area. They don't have direct access to the children's staff. They've got to be checked in. And so that's definitely something that we know, and we're still continuing to explore any grant options that we can. Some general repairs and maintenance, we typically have right this in at $100,000. Vehicles, and we have, each year we refresh some. We have a list there. One for our delivery van is actually out of commission now, technology, and then a couple for the district fleet. Some miscellaneous costs for furniture. We are getting some continued pricing on the Bladenboro Middle School auditorium and classroom wing. That has been shut down due to some concerns in there. We are trying to get a firm cost on what that may be to bring that back up. My biggest challenge basically is moisture came through the porous walls in there, which caused some issues and challenges. Right now, we even had to move students out of the band room at this point with some concerns about air quality. So we've relocated them into not the ideal room for band, but we believe we'll be able to remediate that particular space with some operating funds we have now to get them at least back in the band room. We'll have to segment off that, and then we'll have to look at the other part. You know, as we know now, the only auditorium space that we do have in the county is at BCC. So it would be nice to be able to have another space in the district, also for the community and all to use as well. And I know that the community and the county had worked a few years back to restore some of the seats and things in there too, but right now it's just basically unusable at this point without looking at that. Like obviously, you know, we're trying to get some firm pricing on that, but you know, definitely that was in the consideration that may be something we could look at doing. We do have some driveways in need of repair, a lot of potholes. Specifically, we've done some last year. We've got both high school parking lots paved. We got, cut-throughs on both so we can address the traffic at both high schools. So that's working a whole lot better now, much better than what it was. But, you know, Dublin Primary, the drive parents come in, has been patched beyond and keeps patching, and it just keeps washing out in places, as well as Bladen Primary. HVAC units, we have 2 gymnasiums that do not have air. And so it makes it very difficult, for students, especially when we're getting this time of the year and later and when school starts. Those do not have HVAC in them, and so we definitely want to be able to address those 2 gymnasiums, as obviously when there's inclement weather and all, that's a space for those students to be and for other activities. We have been told we did some bleacher replacement in some of our gymnasiums last year and had to fix some already, even though East and West are not terribly old. We had to replace some seats in both of those gyms in the last year. We've been told that the first floor had an inspection, that there's some concerns with the first floor of Elizabethtown Middle's gym. Not as much on the second, but the gaps that are there. Obviously, that's our largest seating place. We can have graduation there now and have everybody in one place. Before, we had to segment folks, and some folks didn't get to come. But we do know those bleachers are going to have to be replaced on the first floor of the Elizabethtown Middle's gym. Then we've had some concerns, specifically at one high school, with, you know, the placement of some of the fields and restroom facilities was not the greatest. We've had a challenge where we've had tracks obviously when they're doing practice, but tennis and soccer, where folks have had to go quite a bit of distance to try to get into a building for a restroom, not having access for concessions, depending because of the way the layout is. It's just a challenge. So one thing we kind of explored was maybe some mobile unit that we could use in those seasons, but also could be used throughout the district. And even if the county was to have an event, it'd be like a mobile restroom unit and a concession space that could be used. That could be used for any community events that need to be as well. I know that you all have certain things the college probably could utilize as well. But we know that that would address a need without obviously constructing something, you know, at this point, and it could be mobile to be used from multiple places. Obviously, that's a lot. We know that you all have to look out for a lot of departments in the county. We respect that. But I think we need to do our due diligence to let you know where the needs are and what we're looking at. But we cannot thank you all enough for the support you do give us, and we appreciate all that you do for us.
I have a little question. How many SROs do you need? What's the limit on that?
And I can let Ms. Brown kind of address, she works closely with that, but we have, I think we have 6 permanent at this point, and we're utilizing some that are off duty, and I think the sheriff's worked with some rotation on some others, but, you know, we would need 12 to be fully staffed. About 50%. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think Sheriff Vickers is facing the same thing we are. It's hard to recruit. I mean, it's amazing when you think about safety and think about educating children, some very important aspects of human life, and sometimes some of the lower paid positions. But we ask a lot of those folks. We do.
I know the schools at the high schools, the exterior windows, they're all, you know, they got stuff covering the windows. And I kept thinking that if somebody be inside there doing something illegal or some safety for the kids, and if the deputies come up, they can't see where he is or she is. Oh, that don't look that good.
Well, and right, and they can obviously you can see out, and those are actually put on for safety, because one thing they were sharing in a lot of the active shooter is they're going, if someone's on the outside, they're going looking in windows. It kind of defeats the purpose when we lock down the building, turn the lights off into the door, if they can see in those windows that there's not blinds and shade. So a lot of times in those front windows, like open areas, office area, we're getting Elizabethtown Middle's getting finished up now. They're starting to get theirs because we held off because they had some window replacements that were done last year, so we didn't want to put them up and have to take them right back down, and that'd be a cost we just threw away. So
now the E-Town, their primary school, for their lunch and breakfast, they get that real early. But
they do that, and that's what we're hoping that the new facility was going to address. And ideally, as we've been able to do at Dublin, East Arcadia, and Bladen County, we've been able to turn 5th grade back elementary where it needs to be. So if they were able to take advantage of that needs-based capital fund and be able to do that, we could address the lunch issue and breakfast issue for the primary, get in that multi-purpose space, the additional classrooms, and be able to work through. Something else we're looking at too is doing looking at some redistricting again, to try to offset, because we do have some large numbers in a couple of buildings. That's another option we could also do to help with that too.
They eat breakfast pretty early.
They do. Well, like it's breakfast in the class, when they come in, they're taking it. Lunch is the one that starts there early.
Yeah.
And for small kids, eating lunch at 10, you know they're gonna be hungry again before they even get off. And
Lunch is 10 o'clock.
that's just too early to start lunch. But we don't have another choice, but you're looking at, 500 students in that building. It's pro max. So right now, for those two large primary schools, unless someone moves to that attendance zone, we're not approving any transfers to those two buildings because there's just no room for them.
Now, I noticed, at East Bladen, that whoever did the paving out there, the water stands all over there. I mean, it's in bad shape when it rains.
We can get them back out there, take a look at that. Mhm.
I think one of the things that concern me, and you touched on,
Mhm.
about the overcrowding, with the number of schools that we still have, and I totally understand because of the family, primary and Bladen as well. We're sitting here with about the same number of buildings that we had, and I think a lot of people ask this question. When I was in school, we had about 9,000 students,
Mhm.
with about the same number of buildings.
Mhm.
Now we got about 3,800, but we always overcrowded.
Right.
And, but is it because we have the more students, and going back to what you finally said a while ago, your final comments that you made,
Right.
with maybe having to go back and look where some of the people live for redistributing?
Right. It is, and see, one thing too that still, that gets us in K-3, which both of those schools, you've got class size restrictions. And so, you know, that really weighs a lot. And so in the past, we didn't have that. So you could put 25, 30 kids in but then that led itself to having those teacher assistants because you had two adults in the room. And so the class size legislation, you're looking at the maxes, you can go +3, but then your district average can't be over. Right now, we're already having to ask for a waiver, for this year, which is gonna be too late, but I mean, we still have to do it because we're one over in one building already. And that's just keeping the class size. So, I think for example, first grade, you kept 16 students, you can go +3, but you can't do it every room because it takes your district average out. So that's a small amount. And both of, a lot of folks that we're seeing a lot of transient populations come in. You know, and we're thankful our ADM's up. I mean, that's a good thing. Our initial projection, which is Ms. Harrison and I are trying to figure out, our ADM is actually up about 200 from what it was last year, but on just the teacher allotment out the gate, they reduced us 4 teachers. I hadn't figured that out yet. And so, but, you know we got some growing areas, but I do think that we need to look at, talk about doing some redistricting, especially if we can work through capital needs grant, get that space, and then also marry that with the redistricting. I think we could really balance that out, a lot.
One follow-up. And I brought this up when Dr. Taylor was here, and he found out we could, but he didn't think when I brought it up that he didn't think we could, and I pointed out South Columbus. You know, when Charles and I, some of us old people up here, we were in school, if we had a need for a field house or whatever, we had masonry, we had carpentry, we built our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if what we couldn't do, our community with the people with the license would come in and assist. Of course, he said, well, we could. I said, how much you know about South Columbus? Quite a bit. I said, well, maybe the next time you go, you might look at that building on the right side of their main building. I said, they build a modular every year and sell it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I said, and he followed back up, and we were right. But I think it would inspire our community and get us more involved. And then, well, if East does it, then West. I said, well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's inspire all of us to get involved. If we don't have the money to use what assets and skills and our community come back together to help us achieve and get, but somebody needs to look into that a little bit more so we can ramrod it and maybe help when we can't.
Right.
With our taxpayers, you know, when you get less and less people can't take for so much, and y'all aware of that.
Right. And I think some folks even look at even potential sponsorships that could be on that building. That might be something we could look at too, in terms of, you know, we could figure out, you know, obviously you don't want to go too crazy, but get us sufficient that's gonna do what we need it to do, with adequate space. And then say, it's gonna cost X number of dollars to build this and this. And then say, community, you know, this is what we've got.
College, and then Dr. Lee, naming, get money.
Mhm.
I just time limit on, improving the, tracks at the schools, you look, leaning towards just doing one at the middle school?
Well, we had, and when we talked about it with the board, actually, we had more discussion about it last year, and it was just rolled over into our plan again for this year. Both options were presented to, you know, obviously there, a lot of the challenge we don't know is change with, we know East Bladen, there's a concern with the football field where something had to be redone, so that's additional cost you wouldn't have.
Right.
It's already kind of spaced out right at the middle school. And so with what needed to be done, we felt like potentially if we could get at least one done central track, because, you know, and folks have even looked at doing that because they're very expensive. If we could potentially look at some way of doing that, and if we married that with a community project where it could be a nice walking track where we kept it lit at night for a certain amount of time and things like that. A lot of folks take advantage of it now, but they're doing it, we know, we've still got daylight. And, you know, we thought that might be a good way to do a partnership there, even in that, and make it a nice facility when there's not a track meet or practice, that the community can utilize that. And it's far enough, it won't be an issue if folks went during the day. Most of the PE classes are using the indoor anyway, but if we had to, we could work, but it's, you know, it's fenced off anyway, so we could secure that so it would not be interacting with students, for folks that would be there. Obviously, anyone that shouldn't be there, like a sex offender, shouldn't be on that campus anyway. But, I mean, but there again, it would make that accessible even throughout the day for the community too, if we kind of did it. Whereas East and West, you're on the school campus. I mean, there's no way around that to do that.
It's less costly to just do one.
It would be. Yes, sir. And with the unknowns, especially, and I would be willing to bet West Bladen has some similar things too, but we just knew, because we know when you've got football, you've got a nice big, that drain is right there, the track behind that end zone on the concession stand side. And so we know that would have to be redone, and Lord knows what that would cost. But, you know, we're pretty confident that across the street there at the middle school, that you wouldn't have to have all that extra things done. That could be a matter of resurfacing.
Another thing we might want to follow up, with East Bladen, it wouldn't hurt for a phone call to Fort Bragg. It's helping us to upgrade what they did for us. They did that field when I was.
Oh, wow.
Fort Bragg did the field and all, and our state, all that at East Bladen. So, just point that out.
There's a community concern about the uses of Plainview School. The community is concerned about that, maybe they can get involved with that.
Right, and in fact, Mr. Smith is here. You know, we had shared that there's two ways. Obviously, I know we gave you all the first right of refusal on that, which you all did. And so basically two options is, one, it could be sold for fair market value, and that would have to be determined, obviously, you know, be that. Or, as I had shared with Mr. Smith, and we're going to have a meeting here soon, talk about some other things, is that, if it could become part of a legislative bill, that could be potentially included to where that building could go outside of statute, if it was going to be a community organization or it's an alumni association to provide some programs. In a legislative bill, that could be then say, give the district, well, we can, you know, deed that over to them and not have that, not any cost associated, or it might be a minimal kind of thing. But Mr. Grady had been looking into that, but obviously if it does not go through a legislative action, it's going to have to be either used for some educational purpose. That would be us, just like, you know, BCC's using with Booker T. Washington, or it would have to be sold at fair market value. That's the only options out that's in the statute right now. But it has happened before. You've had other buildings that's been done, so it can be done. And so Mr. Smith and I were going to meet and kind of look at opportunities maybe to try to reach out to legislators on this, and that's an option for them too. But that's definitely something that might be an option that we're going to try to explore and help them make those connections. That we'd like to see it used because it's just sitting there right now, but it definitely would be. But, you know, statutorily, we cannot do anything outside of that unless there's something added into to a bill that they can do.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Axel.
I just have one question. Were your priorities, in order, or?
Just, because we we know there's several things all across the place. There's no priority order. We know every little bit helps is what we say, so. And we know in terms of our, our capital outlay, we've got that laid out in the 5-year progressive plan we've submitted to you all, so that is laid out. Obviously, anything that deals with student safety, we want to be in probably number one over anything. But, that's definitely, I'd say, part of the priority list in that. And then obviously anything in that and increasing, support for instruction, so teacher assistants, things like that,
And your vehicle, you have, well, I'm still old with the prayer there.
Well, when they get to certain miles, we pretty much drive them till they about die, but they're usually surplus and sold on auction. And so,
That money back.
right, we put it back in, so it helps offset that too. But a lot of times, we get a little bit of money, but not a whole, no, it's not, by the time they get out there, they've probably got 200,000 miles but it makes a good starter car. We had a gentleman that come and bought one of those and did it for his thing. Said, if he messes it up, it'll be something we'll have a lot of money tied up to, but we do that.
Thank you,
All
Dr.
right, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
Item 10 is American Rescue Plan. Considers various funding requests. I know that there's one on there for the VFW, it's $1,150. Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Well, second. Whoa. It's, that's it.
Okay.
Dr.
That's on
David.
Yeah, I want to make sure that, okay.
So we good with that? Motion by Mr. Campbell, second by
Second.
Mr. SP. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Just that,
Okay, Harmony Hall is $1,000. Mr. Gooden made that motion, that's his money. Second from Mr. Britt. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And there's one, number 3 is the town of Clark, $22,000.
I thought, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't know it was ARP money. USDA had actually gave funds to, East Arcadia and Clark. And so what happened to that money? I'm sorry? It didn't come through.
USDA money to Clark or wouldn't come through the county?
It did, it came to, well, I guess pieces, it went through, it was supposed to do a grant through, because Chuck helped with the one thing Arcade, and, yeah, what happened on this one?
Dr. Philly, they got the two towns, that district,
Right,
got a 3-year priority on grants.
right,
The very first year, East Arcadia applied for and received, and then the county matched
right,
the money for the,
but it,
revitalization of the building.
right,
That 3 years ended last year. So it was a 3-year priority. It was not a specific allocation of money. It was over those 3 years, you got preferential treatment for application.
So, anybody with ARP money want to
Well, now, what kind of question though, the funding that was given to Clarkson, it came back, didn't it?
That was
Yeah.
for Parks and Rec. That was not for community revitalization.
Do they have that money back? Did we give it back to them? No, wait.
answer that?
So why did it come back?
They turned it back in, they didn't have a 50% match evidently.
Oh, okay, okay.
Y'all wanna do something?
we could do some, but I'm waiting because Kelly's the one who, did they come back to you? Because they, according to Gwen,
I'm gonna give them $7,000.
how much?
7.
7? Okay. But
I don't know
how much you got total?
Mr. Bullock?
That's good,
You said,
Okay, you can do it, Sam. Do you have anything else?
that's good.
so,
No, I'm talking about from my money.
Well, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you go to 7 too?
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
Kelly
I'm
won't
saying.
get in.
that's 14?
I'll do the, move to 15 because we still have something to
Okay.
give to Kelly.
Motion,
15
this
of
is
it.
for Clarkson.
15.
Motion,
Yeah, for what?
$15,000 of ARP money coming from Mr. Mark MacArthur and OP, 771.
Oh, 1 minute. I'm gonna see.
We need to,
Okay, no one takes it. Okay.
771, right?
Yes,
ARP money.
all right.
15,000 total.
Who's gonna make the motion?
I make a motion that we give AR keep money, $15,000 to the town of Clarksville.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Find out about the other.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And to some more, I'll be able to get it later.
Okay, thank you. General Service Department, and consider approving Health Department renovation project change 1 through 11 and 13 through 16. 16 order changes. Anybody got any questions?
Sorry, what was that? I'm
The
sorry.
order changes on the Health Department for renovation. No questions? So they have the money to pay for it, it's not coming out of the general budget, so. Motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Brett, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
dealing with y'all.
Good night.
Advisory Board, Advisory Board appointment, Keep Blaine Beautiful.
Anybody get it?
Boy, I mean,
One of y'all commissioners need to volunteer for that.
okay.
Motion to table by Dr. Ophir Mungoing, second by
I second.
Mr. Bullock, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nursing Home Advisory Committee, 3,
I got two.
Mark's got 2.
Sandra Baldwin, excuse me,
Sandra Ball
and Jermaine Hines.
and Jermaine Hines.
I can get a contact.
That's your motion.
I second it.
By Mr. Bullock. So, we still need one for next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So, May the 19th, we got a bunch of appointments. I'm not gonna go through all those, plus we'll do the Keep Blaine Beautiful and one, and we'll do, Nursing Home Advisory Committee, okay? So the calendar review. Tomorrow, 8:30 to 5, non-perishable food drive at Bladen County Department of Social Service. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're gonna have the, press conference with IRT here and Kelly Dyke. So please come if you can, 10 o'clock. That perishable drive is all week at the DSS. Okay, from 8:30 to 5 every day. Taste of Bladen County Tourism is 9:30 to 4:30 on Wednesday. And Bladen County Fire Association meeting is listed on Fire Department on Thursday, 8 o'clock. And United Way of Day of Caring is May the 2nd. The 12th, Bladen County Sheriff's Office Peace Officer Memorial. You need to confirm that you're coming.
Yeah, I've already agreed.
Just one or two, you told me the other day.
Yeah, I did.
So if you let Lorraine know today, she'll expect us in. Health Department meeting at 5 o'clock. White Lake Water Festival starts the 16th and 17th and 18th. And the 19th, Vision of Aging Spring Fling is from 10 to 12:30 on the 21st. 10 a.m. to 12:30. The Municipalities and County Association meeting is at Tar Heel at 6 p.m. the 22nd. The county office is closed the 26th for Memorial Day. And Keep Blaine County Beautiful meets, at 4 o'clock on the 27th, at 6:30. So, June 2nd, Express Service at 8 o'clock, and the Commissioners meet at 6:30. On the 9th, Health and Human Service meets at 5 o'clock. County Fire Association meets Thursday the 12th at Hickory Grove. 16th, Commissioner meeting. Mount Hall, the 3rd annual Juneteenth is the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. I guess that's all day, 22nd and 22nd, all day, I guess, right?
You got a copy here, a flyer.
Okay. Yeah, I see it now. Got a flyer. And then Keep Blaine Beautiful meets at 24th at Central Service. So, I guess we need to decide the budget, another budget workshop. If I pull the calendar out, give us some dates.
Just tell me when you. Basically, we don't stay on.
Just tell me when my day off.
You looking at Mayor Gene?
Hey, that'd be great.
What about 4 o'clock on the 19th, just come a couple hours?
We have a equalization, I think, on there, yeah, 5, at 6, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. It was Danny's idea, he just wished.
Maybe what, I think we need to pick a night and work one night so everybody can be here, cause, you know, especially if we're gonna have to submit, I mean, time to get serious about this budget. Everybody needs to be here, and that's, I would help Danny,
I know.
saying.
I know.
Tuesday or Thursday night?
Well,
Well,
Well, the Monday would be fine with me,
that's what,
no, for the budget.
I know the chair schedule 12.
Okay.
I think. One,
Oh, that's right.
I think.
Okay. So it's
Potentially.
Tuesday,
13th, 14th
nope, we already have a meeting on the 13th, on the schedule.
of May.
Maybe, I think we got already scheduled.
Yeah.
That's the, yeah.
PCC.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
So can you 15th?
Can't do that.
well, we could.
14th, no, that won't work either.
15th,
So much.
I can do,
15th,
15th I can do.
Can we do it this week? That's pushing it very close to the budget presentation.
But you gotta have it submitted by July 1.
But we have to have it submitted with you guys by the 19th, so we can advertise for a public hearing for the first Monday in June.
So the 8th, but that's, we're talking about 6:30 or 6 o'clock?
what, 15th, 6 o'clock?
No, the 8th.
18th, 6 o'clock.
Well, there's a P-Town Fire Department meeting, but that ain't, end of the world to miss it.
May 8th at 6 o'clock?
Can't think of it, the heating just should be more important than that,
Might not be working on that day.
but.
What the 8th look for you?
I said, that's what I said, it's said on that.
I can make it work, yep.
It's 6 o'clock.
I was just stating that I'll be here.
Wednesday, May, what day?
May 8th.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, May the eighth.
This Thursday. What day, Wednesday? I'm okay with Wednesday, no, we have,
Thursday, what time?
Whatever's good for you.
we can,
Let's do early one morning, 5 o'clock.
All right.
I can do 7, I can do 7
I'll wake
a.m.,
you up, I mean, with
but I can't do Thursday.
Well, I tell you, a morning meeting actually would be, I mean,
I'm serious.
y'all wanna do,
5 o'clock, fine with me.
7:30?
Thursday
Not
morning,
5 o'clock.
Thursday
How about-
morning,
how about
7:30.
7 o'clock.
I can't see her Thursday morning.
never mind.
I can't do Thursday, Thursday or Friday, but I can do Wednesday at 7.
7 a.m.
Oh, no, that's, yeah, I can.
When? 5 o'clock.
I already committed for the morning for Thursday and Friday, but on the 7th, Wednesday, I can.
You got 7. I'm doing 7. We take the
We do 9:30.
I know,
I'm just doing the tour of Bladen thing.
Talking about this Wednesday?
I'll be here then.
Charles Wright?
at 7,
Starting can't be here.
okay,
I have, we're training, we got new training, I'm working by myself.
okay. Well, then next week then, at 8,
That's making it too close.
Well, we have to do our budget that day, I mean, it is what it is, if y'all can't meet, we're gonna have to.
Just do it, I just, so what day?
Right.
14th, 15th, what was that?
Do morning of the 14th.
Oh, yeah, I can do the
Morning
morning.
of the
I mean,
14th.
yeah, that's not the issue.
Rodney can't come.
You can't?
Actually,
Oh,
Wednesday,
every
May
Wednesday?
14th in the morning would
The
be
14th?
fantastic.
Okay. Okay. I just go ask. I think that's Friday. Yes, Friday.
Time, Charles Wright?
Eight.
Wednesday, the 14th at 7:30.
When you put it off that week, now somebody's gonna have to be a budget, when you leave that day, there's gotta be a budget.
That's right.
All right, 7:30, Wednesday, the 14th.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute, I got a date with my wife. It's morning.
That's what it works out.
14th at 7:30.
We should see.
Hey, the division agent will be delivering food boxes that day. Thank you.
Be on the bus for me.
But 7:30.
Come on, let's go.
I make a motion, Wednesday the 14th, 7:30 till we're done.
Let's go to AM.
Yeah.
Second.
Second by Dr. Dean, any more discussion? Rest on the. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? That'll work out well.
Well, that was close, that was.
Throw me off there.
That was not an opposed.
Okay, matters of interest to commissioner, anyone have anything? Please. Individual delegates wish to address the commissioner?
7:30 a.m.
Wednesday, 14th. Need a motion to go in closed session,
So moved.
CGS 143-3, 3 attorney-client privilege, and UCG 143-318-886 personnel. Motion and second, any discussion? Take a short break, please. All in favor, say aye.
This conference will now be recorded.